ideas, values, and spiritual traditions. They continue to shape how societies see themselves and how they engage with the wider world. My guest today is a young filmmaker and storyteller. She's a graduate of the University of Bath, United Kingdom, and is the creator of a film exploring the life and legacy of the famous Neem Karoli Baba. Anupriya represents a new generation of storytellers bringing India's spiritual and cultural traditions to contemporary audiences. Please join me in welcoming Anupriya Nagar, recognized by those around her as a child prodigy. Hi Anupriya, welcome.
Hi, Lakshmi ji. Namaste, Sitaram. How are you?
Namaste. Very well. So, Anupriya, you've been a curious child all your life. And I believe you're an economist by training as well. But your interest in spirituality, I'm very, very curious to know your growing up days and your interest in art, trading, economics, and now spirituality.
Absolutely. It's been a very interesting journey for me. So I've grown up in a very spiritually rich family and a very spiritually rich school as well. So I do give a lot of credit to my parents and also my teachers for inculcating this sort of spirituality in me. So we used to recite these chants and shlokas every week. And back then I used to think, oh my God, again it's Wednesday and we have to chant this Sandhya mantra again. But then now I realize how important and deep it was. And I do keep it very close to my heart now. I graduated last year, and now God always has plans for you. Even though you know that, oh, I'm going to be doing this tomorrow, God will be like, haha, you're going to have something better planned for you. So now I've gotten into this venture of mine I'm producing this film titled Hanuman Ansh. It's a story based on Neem Karoli Baba.
So I want to know that, the choice that now you've made or the divine has chosen for you to engage with India's spiritual heritage, starting with, doing it through filmmaking. Besides your family's influence, was there something else that drew you towards these stories, or did something happen? Did you encounter something? Is there a story for behind these stories?
This line that you said was really beautiful. The divine chose me. So I completely believe in that and accept my family's been very supportive. In my final year of university, I had a module and I was going through, Apple and the company and how Steve Jobs came about it. And I was researching about Steve Jobs is not as a businessman, but as a thinker, like what really sparked in him that he made $1 million company. And that's when I came across an article which said that he was actually influenced by, an Indian saint, Neem Karoli Baba, and that really sparked something in me. But, a foreigner, the CEO of the greatest technology company in the world is the one who went to Kechi Dham, gained that sort of clarity and direction in his career. When he went there. So that really sparked something in me. Why are so many foreigners following him? Or why? And then when I was talking about this to some of my friends, being Gen Z, I think we're a little disconnected from that part of the world. They didn't know anything about Neem Karoli Baba. And I felt that, he is a divine being that was born and he lived in India. He lived on our soil, and we should be proud of that. And we should know about his story. And not only Steve Jobs and Mark Zuckerberg and Julia Roberts, the list goes on. So many foreigners are following him. And if you see in the US as well right now, there's a huge following. There's so many ashrams made over there. But I just wanted to bring the sense of Baba's teachings and, he's being to people. How can I bring Baba's teaching and his life to people, not only just in India, but, Indians even living abroad, but also foreigners, because whatever Baba used to say, it was very simple, to feed one, love one, and say God's name. This is super simple, and that is something we should be doing every day, right? That's when it sparked in me that okay, I do want to make a film. It's also three women that we've come together. It's not very common that you see in India, and three women and three different generation women. Obviously, me being the youngest. And we bring in different perspectives, and we all have this different opinions, and I think that is what brings us together, makes Hanuman Ansh such a beautiful product towards the end of the day.
Now, a lot of young people, you said, are not really that clued in to their spiritual side. But I've also met a lot of young people who are slowly trying to discover themselves. How important would you say for them is it to remain connected to their cultural roots? Or is there that pressure when you go abroad to become more local and sort of let go of some of those roots?
So I feel it's very important to have touch with your cultural roots. And I can say for myself, for someone who's moved abroad for studies and for work as well, that I, at a point, started to crave for culture and tradition. We've grown up in India, and it's very common to see culture and traditions around me. There are so many festivals around us. Growing up, my mom and my dad have always encouraged us to, be a part of these traditions and the chant. So they're all in us. So it was just an amazing feeling. And, it felt very home that when I went to the mandir and, reciting the same chants that I used to do at home with my family, now with my friends, my Indian friends, and also some other, like it was a huge community, Indian community. And I was really surprised to see that in a quaint town like Bath. And it was a beautifully made temple, and we all were reciting the chants and the mantras together, and it just felt so much at home. People kind of sometimes complicate spirituality. It's the same thing what you call mental health today. It's kind of, being in the present, understanding your being, and, living with yourself and your thoughts. Right. And, even if you chant Om or you chant any mantra, it psychologically, it just makes you stop, be in the moment, and, stops all the thoughts in your mind that are running constantly. So they are the same for me, but of course, spirituality comes from a lot of wisdom and ancestral teachings. But I do think it coincides with mental health, and this is something that Gen Zs are looking into now, but they're so slowly, gradually getting into it. But I'm really happy to see that.
So, would you say that bhajan clubbing is picking up in the UK as well?
Yes, yes, yes. In fact, there's an event coming up on 13th that I'm really excited to join. And, I feel this is a sort of event, like setting, that will really encourage Gen Zs to get involved. So I think it's a very, very good thing that's happening. In fact, there are so many places I have heard, not only even in the UK, but in the US.
What responsibilities come with telling stories about spiritual figures who inspire so many different people and millions of people?
No, it's a great responsibility on our shoulders. And in fact, I got the chance to meet Premanand Maharaji in Vrindavan a month ago, and this is what he said to me. He said that no one can make a film on a saint because no one can be that saint. He's so pure in what he's done for the world. No one can do that. But it's a good thing that you're making a film, so at least people know about the saint and his good doings and his teachings. And he said you have to be very responsible because so everyone in the team has to be responsible. It's not just me, from the video editor to the social media person to the actor himself, the producers, the director, everyone has to be very, very careful and has to be responsible of what they're putting out there. I can say this because when Maraji was talking to me, in my head, I was like, yes, we've done this. Yes, we've done this. And it was a sort of, I feel that it happened in such a beautiful way and at such a beautiful timing that we had just completed the film. And, I can relate so much to him. Our film itself is very, very grasping, very entertaining.
Anything change in you while you were making the film? Did you learn anything about yourself, or perhaps did you change anything about your own practices or just habits during this 2 year period?
So it's very interesting. So I've always been very traditional and very culturally invested person, but I didn't know that I could be this spiritual. So when I started working on this film, and when I was reading about Baba, and I was reading articles, and I spoke to a lot of people about it, and that's when I started reciting the Hanuman Chalisa, and I tried to first understand what it is, the meaning of it, and then it was so beautiful. I was like, I should, recite this every day. And my mom also encouraged me to do so. And then I saw a very huge difference, like there used to be times where I was having a terrible headache and I used to just recite the Hanuman Chalisa and I was completely fine. And I can say this because I have experienced it and, I've gone through it and I've felt that kind of energy. So I've started feeling these kind of energies around me. And even when we went to Vrindavan, where his Ma Samadhi is for our poster reveal, sort of, we wanted to get his blessings first before we kind of show our poster to the world. So then I could And I've started to sense this energy around me. And I could feel the energy because we were sitting in Baba's room where he used to stay. Then, right outside his room, we have recited the Hanuman Chalisa 11 times. And we've done exactly what he used to do. There's this beautiful place behind the mandir where we did a bhandara over there. And there are pictures of him actually sitting there and getting the bandaras done. So, like, constantly I was feeling, he is there with us. And I always say that he's never passed. He just left his body in 1973. He is amongst us. And I have felt his presence around me for a lot of occasions. So I think that sense of understanding energy around me and Hanuman Chalisa has really changed a lot for me.
When you were working on the film, and as your intent and your work and your seva on this particular project was becoming known, did your friends react to it any differently? What was the response of people around you? And once the film that once people got to know about film, the more people that have heard about it, what is that thing that has surprised international audiences mostly about the story of Baba?
I mean, all of my friends being Gen Z, they first didn't understand because they have not come across Neem Karoli Baba before, or, even from their parents' side. There were a certain lot that knew about him, but a huge chunk of them didn't know about him. First, so I think it was like different stages. So first they didn't know about him. And then, being very ambitious about this, about Baba and, to tell his story. So I used to tell them stories about Baba and, a little bit about the leelas that he has and stuff like that. And then they started to gain more information about it. And in fact, I'll tell you, so yesterday I visited Hanuman Das ji, which is he's based in London, and I took one of my friends with me. And I've seen her entirely transform from not knowing anything about Baba and then, to even starting to greet people by Sitaram. So, I have noticed this in her, and, and it's so beautiful to see, because I myself have changed in a certain way, and to see people around me to accept it and embrace it is beautiful. So I took her with me to Hanuman Dasri, and she was talking about how I introduced Baba to her, and then now she's so intrigued and she really wants to watch the film, and she has read up a lot about him. I think my generation really is very curious. They just don't have that sort of information because, of course, I mean, 1973 is not that far. It wasn't that long ago. But I think we just, once we're in it, then we get in it completely. As Baba says, "Raja," then that is your journey forward. I do see a lot of my friend over here and also my friends back in India. For them, in the start, it was a little difficult for them to understand. But then later on, when I tell them and, they come across these stories and stuff.
Now, as somebody who's studied in the UK, have you noticed that there is some international curiosity about Indian philosophy?
A lot of people around me, not only just in my generation, but people older to me as well. There is a lot of curiosity because all of these. Baba is a mystical being. I do consider him as an avatar of Hanumanji because of the stories that I've heard and the experiences that I have felt and I've gone through. I don't think it's just about Indians and foreigners. It's about everyone. Everyone will have something to take away from this film because Baba's teachings were very universal. And, he's lived in the British era of that time where there was so much noise and commotion and chaos around. But his teachings were very simple, and it was through his actions and silence. So it will definitely reach a lot of people, and with Baba's blessing, we'll go forward with it.
Interesting that you said actions and silence. A lot of people will not understand the depth of or the value of silence and the pause. So I'm wondering, I'm also thinking while talking to you about, the several where there's no break from looking and appearance, and it's affecting very adversely their mental health and, their alignment within themselves. So they are drifting away, and there's alcoholism. There's so much. Obviously, it's cool to be drinking, it's cool to be hanging out, and there's also that bordering into drug abuse and substance abuse and things like there's everything. It's a negative spiral. It becomes from cool to addiction to then, being stuck there. It's a broad range of population going through this. What do you say that spirituality can offer to people who are perhaps drifting away? Is there anything that they can dip into that can help them become better or become a bit stronger internally?
So I think this generation is constantly looking for validation. Whether, I mean, even if it's people who are younger to us, at that point, it's, you're running after grades, and then after that, you'll be running after getting a good university, and then after that, getting good grades over there. Then you're running for a good job, a good placement in the career. So you're always running in life. It is human nature to always want more. You don't actually sit and think that, oh, I'm actually living my dream life. When I came to the UK, I did get a huge cultural shock, as you mentioned about alcohol and drugs and stuff like that. And I think getting into spirituality. I mean, I've been, very, I mean, the furthest away I could be from all of this. But, for people who are into this, I feel like, spirituality actually makes you feel like you're in the present, and it will make you understand your thought process even more, because it's basically, you can start with a basic meditation, even for 5 minutes, just sitting in silence with your own thoughts, because I feel, people have so much going on in life that they try to chase all of this, and you things as it's just spending time with yourself, and then only when you spend time with yourself is when you realize who you actually are, your inner self, your belief, whether you paint, or you're into some music, or anything, anything that you do to spend time with yourself, I think is spirituality. I think this is something that can help people get out of these.
On that note, I want to do a little rapid fire round with you, if you're ready.
Yes, ever ready.
So, one word that describes your generation.
Disconnected.
One word that describes spirituality.
Peace.
Meditation or manifestation?
I would choose both. I can't choose between the two.
Okay, intent maybe.
Yeah, intent. Absolutely. No, that is so true. Yeah.
A spiritual book that every young person should read.
The Bhagavad Gita. It answers to all of your questions.
One spiritual practice that takes less than 5 minutes but can change your day.
I would say reciting the Hanuman Chalisa.
I was going to say, because you did talk about your personal
Yeah.
experience. So good answer. So this is a cheeky one. If Neem Karoli Baba had an Instagram handle, in his time, what would his bio say?
Oh, that's an interesting one. It would say Sansar hi mera parivar hai. That means the world is my family. That's what he used to say.
One thing young people are searching for most deeply today.
Validation.
And one thing that social media gives us.
Social media gives us a lot of reach. Sitting here, I can reach someone complete opposite of
And one thing that social media takes away.
a lot of time, doom scrolling, lot of time.
Can spirituality exist without religion?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
A misconception that young people have about spirituality.
That spirituality is religion. It's not. It's a completely separate, and it can lead you to the religion, but it's not coinciding.
And a misconception older generations have about young people.
That the young generation has it all given to them and handed to them, but it's great that we've been given so much in our life by our parents and by the older generation, but it is very difficult for our generation to even step out.
So true. And one quality that every young leader needs today.
I think ambition and clear research and knowledge about what you're doing.
One thing schools should teach but don't often do that.
I think they should teach some ancient scriptures, some texts of our Gita or the Mahabharata or the Ramcharitamanas. I think that's really important to teach the young generation.
Silence or conversation?
Silence. I need a 5-minute silence in my day. I do love having my conversations, but I need my silence sometimes.
Yeah, same here. I need a lot more than 5 minutes. What is harder for young people today? Finding success or finding meaning?
Finding meaning. The most important thing and the most difficult thing that we're going through, our generation.
And a spiritual figure from history that you'd most like to interview?
There are two people. One is, of course, Neem Karoli Baba. I would love to sit with him and have a conversation with him. And also my grandfather. Unfortunately, I've not met him, but I would love to sit down and have a chat with him because of the person that he is. And I'm sure he's giving me his blessing.
I think you have your grandfather in you always.
Honestly.
And he's listening up there, and so is Neem Karoli Baba, and blessing you. Finally, and that was a good, very, very good set of answers. And you've handled so many rapid fire questions so efficiently. I want to ask you if every young person listening to, our conversation today could take away just one spiritual lesson.
I think it'd be super simple to my Nana ji used to say that neki kar or kuwe mein dal. So, you do good and then you put it in, you throw it in the well and then go forward. And, don't expect for anything in return. Expectation is a devil. Do good. You should be doing good to people. That's the bare minimum that we could do. God has given us so much in life, and we were so blessed to have be surrounded by such amazing things. But should always do good to people with good intent, and then forget about it and then go on to the next and have zero expectation.
And expectation is the root of all suffering. So definitely drop the expectation and just keep doing the good work. Very, very wise. Very, very wise.
And I will say that I do believe in karma. So you do good and then good will come back to you. It's a life circle. You don't know how, but it will come back to you. Believe in that. So, drop the expectation, as you said, and just believe that there's someone's looking out for you all the time.
On that note, this is it for today. If you enjoyed this episode, do share it, subscribe to the podcast, and let us know your biggest takeaways from this conversation.